This is Angela Kersenbrock with the Community College Baccalaureate Association. Welcome to our ongoing CCBA Institute webinar series. We're delighted to have each of you with us today. This is the 5th webinar that CCBA is hosting with the support of our foundation partner, ECMC. You know, we have a saying here that grants are only as good as their program manager. And we want to tell you that our program manager, Rosie Torres, who's here with us today, is really outstanding. Thank you, Rosie, and we're glad that you're with us. Our goal with these webinars is to provide you better insight and good tools to help you develop or expand your community college baccalaureate programs to help you better serve your community. Today, I'm really excited to have Dr. Elizabeth Meza with us to share her research and to lead a really thoughtful discussion with graduates and students who have benefited from their local community college offering a baccalaureate degree. Elizabeth is a research affiliate with the Community College Research Initiatives at the University of Washington and senior research scientist at the Evans School for Public Policy and Governance. Prior to joining the University of Washington, Elizabeth spent 8 years as an administrator and faculty at several community colleges in the state of Washington. Her research expertise centers around equity in higher education, a very timely topic, community college policy and practice, and mixed methods design. Thank you for joining us today, Elizabeth. We're really happy to have you.
Well, thank you so much, Angela. I really want to thank you and CCBA and your executive board members and my mentor, Dr. Deborah Bragg, for getting me involved in this research. I have been interested in community college baccalaureates since 2005 when I was at Bellevue College in Washington, and they were starting the first 4 community college bachelor's degrees in the state. And I saw what a great addition it was to the educational programming there and what a difference it made in students' lives. And that's what really got me interested in this topic. And I'm so excited that we have 4 graduates here to talk to us today. So I'm going to go ahead and introduce them. So first we've got Hector Bohm. Hector is a 2013 graduate of the Business and Information Management BS program at Seminole State College in Florida. He currently serves as the Executive Vice President at Arthur's Catering, having started there as a server, and credits his bachelor's degree with helping him to advance his personal and professional career. I took a look at the menu at Arthur's Catering, and I cannot wait to go to Orlando and get to eat some of your food someday, so please invite me. It looks delicious. Next, we've got Odetta Julian. She's an award-winning registered nurse with Advent Health in Orlando, Florida. She started her college career in 2011, also at Seminole State College, first earning her Associate in Arts degree and then her Associate in Science and Respiratory Care. She completed the college's Bachelor of Science in Nursing program in 2019, and since then has been dedicated to applying her clerical skill sets to creating a positive and meaningful experience for her patients and their families. And Odetta, congratulations on your new house, which we'll talk a little bit more about. Next, we've got Esther Nair, who recently completed her Bachelor of Science degree in biomanufacturing at Miracosta College in California. She currently serves as a quality analyst for Native Microbiomes Incorporated, where she is responsible for performing microbiology laboratory analysis and product conformances to ensure the company's quality standards are met. I have nothing to say about that since that seems incredibly advanced. And finally, Erin Shanahan. After overcoming tremendous personal challenges, Erin moved to Walla Walla to start a new life. She found her way to Walla Walla Community College, where she is currently pursuing her BAS in Applied Management and Entrepreneurship. A small business owner, Erin plans to apply the skills and knowledge she gains from her bachelor's program to grow her fashion design business. So I want to welcome you all today. We've got a great group here. I want to let you know that if you do have any questions, you can put those in the chat, and we'll just get started. So firsthand student experience and insight is truly priceless. Please mark your calendars for our next webinar on Thursday, April 21st at 2 p.m. when our friend and CCB researcher Tim Harbin will lead a panel focused on employer partnerships. Also visit our website at www.accbd.org for the latest CCB data, outstanding articles, and webinar replays. Angela, did you want to add anything else?
No,
Or should we just go ahead and get started?
I think let's just get started. I know these students have so much to share.
Okay, great. So I want to start with all four of you, and maybe we can start with Hector and then go through just in the way that I introduced you. Can you just talk us through a little bit, Hector, about what factors, when you were looking for a baccalaureate program or bachelor's degree, what factors were important to you or influenced your decision to pursue a bachelor's degree at a community college?
Well, first and foremost, thank you for having me on here. I appreciate the opportunity. In regards to what factors were big for me in making this decision, it was price was huge. And then the other thing was the class sizes. I tried a four-year university, a larger university before that, and I did not do well in auditorium style classrooms. I did much better having small class sizes where I could build a good relationship with the teachers and the students in each one of my classes. And then the other big one, which sounds kind of funny, was parking. I actually remember my first day at a big university, I actually spent over an hour in a parking garage that I couldn't get out of, and I missed the first class. So it was nice at Seminole State, just parking and then taking my 2-minute walk to get to class. So
thank you for that. That's actually really important, something we don't think about very much, but I can imagine how stressful that must have been that first day as you had to find your class.
It was. So I like to mention it was kind of funny.
Odetta, what about you?
Good evening, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for having me. For me, when I was looking to start my bachelor program, the two options that was very important for me was affordability and the flexibility, being a working mom and, being able to work and as well further my study for my bachelor program. Seminole State provides smaller class size. I agree with Hector on that. That was big for me too. So I was able to complete it in a timely manner. Thank you.
Great, thank you. Esther, do you want to?
Yes, thank you. It's great to meet you, Elizabeth, by the way. Thank you for having us. Thank you, Dr. Kirstenbach. So the reason that I found and chose to pursue a degree at a community college, I had just filed for divorce, and I had no background that supported getting a job. I didn't have a degree. I didn't have work experience. I had been a stay-at-home mom, and I had 2 children who I was fully responsible for taking them to school, picking them up after school, providing all of their care. And then I was also dealing with a high stress custody battle and the divorce case. And I found myself needing to provide for us with nothing. So I had applied for several jobs, and you can imagine nobody would have me with nothing, a blank resume. So I reached out to my local community college. Because of my physical location, there's no universities nearby. And I felt pretty worthless, and I felt that I lacked any qualities or skills to really even get a degree. So it was in counseling at my college that my counselor asked me, what do you feel like you can do? And I threw up my hands and I said, I can cook and clean. That's it. And she said, well, have you considered science? Because we're just starting a bachelor's program. And in directly answering your question, it was the finances. She said it said $10,000 for the entire program, start to finish. And the other issue for me was location. The community college was only 20 minutes for me, as opposed to an hour drive to any university. And there's just no physical way that I could make that drive with the responsibilities that I had at home. So I just jumped straight in. I had no idea what biotechnology meant, but I declared it my major, and I was able to work my schedule around my kids' schedules and continue to, deal with all of the stresses in my life outside of school while attend the school. I was able to work on campus and, work myself to where I am now. So I'm incredibly grateful for the community college program.
Thank you so much for sharing that with us.
Yeah.
Erin?
So I would say the biggest factor would be convenience, and it was such an easy transition to go into the bachelor's program since I was already in school. And at the time, I really just wasn't sure about the direction I wanted to go in my life, and I just felt that continuing going to school was the best decision, and just for the fact that it was so easy, and I really just had to show up the next day. It was basically all I had to do to continue for a bachelor's would be the biggest factor for me.
Great. Thank you all for your answers. Dr. Bragg and I were fortunate enough to interview 17 students in Washington a couple of years ago, right as COVID-19 was settling in. And they really echoed a lot of what you just had to say. Schedule flexibility, cost, and feeling a sense of community and sort of comfort at the community college were really some of the things that we heard a lot about. So it's interesting to hear the four of you also echo those same sentiments. So I'd like to ask another question about when you were in your programs, what were some of the key student services that were valuable to you? And if you could just talk a little bit about maybe some of the services that you used or the faculty interactions that you had that you felt like were key in helping you succeed in your programs. And maybe we'll go the opposite way this time. So maybe let's start with Erin.
So I feel terrible, but there was a program that I had used in the very beginning, and I can't remember what it was called. But I met with a lady, and she helped me with purchasing books and getting all my financial aid and everything in order. And I feel terrible, but I can't recall what it was. And I was in that program for the first, I think, 2 years, while I did my associates. And after that, it was mostly my advisor who helped me so much and kept things organized for me. And then, of course, financial aid and and then just.
Erin, did your program have a specific, like a program specific advisor, or were you seeing like a more of a college advisor?
So we have, I believe, just one. Christy Crawford is our advisor for those who are in the bachelor's program.
I see Christy's put in the chat that the program you're referring to is called Work First, and I do want to give a big shout out to Work First. They do an incredible job with very limited resources. So thank you, Work First, folks who might be on the call. Esther, what about you? Did you I knew you talked a little bit already about some of the counseling that you received to kind of get into your program. What other services did you use while you were there?
Yes, the program where the counselor that I referenced, that was through EOPS, which I believe stands for Extended Opportunity Programs and Services. And it's there to help students who are disproportionately affected, for whatever reasons in their lives. For me at the time, it was the financial problem that I felt like I didn't have the resources to help me through college. And that program made a huge difference to me. They sound similar to Work First from how Erin described it. They did help me with affording textbooks. They got me my graduation gown. They were just there. The way I described them at the time is they felt like a parent who, to like kind of hold my hand and help me like, okay, this is the next thing that you need to do. And let's help you make your schedule, and let's help look at what classes you need to sign up for to be successful. And then in regards to just other resources on campus, at MiraCosta, the availability of the faculty and staff was just incredible. The Dean of Math and Science at MiraCosta, his name is Mike Fino. I probably popped into his office on a weekly basis in that first year just to ask him questions about the biotech industry, because like I said, I didn't even know what biotechnology meant. So I was starting from the ground and asking those questions of what is it that we even do, and then I need to understand the difference between industry work and research work. And then he sent me to other people to ask questions. Then also just the potential for being able to work on campus. The community, at least my college, I assume all community colleges share these common values and wanting to invest in their community. They do their best to make jobs available for their students in their field so that we can get that experience without having to, drive somewhere else or go through extensive processes to get a job. So the support on campus was just incredible. Not to mention the tutoring. That was a big deal. Being able to access tutoring in the library. And then, how they say that you learn better when you teach. The college was just great at making the opportunity available for me to work in the tutoring department as well, just to help consolidate what I was learning, because science was such a jump from, and my only background before that was music. So
Great, thank you very much.
Thank
Odetta,
you.
what about you? Hi there.
For me, one of the biggest thing was being able to meet with the advisor and have one-on-one. When I decided to go back into pursue my bachelor program, they had an informational session, which kind of gave me more details about the step that I need to take to get an educational plan. They were able to help me to making sure my credit was transferred from one university to Seminole State, to being able to making sure I have credit and making sure that I've completed what I need before I can pursue on to my bachelor program. So that was a big thing for me, having that plan and having the help to transition into the program. That was very helpful. Thank you.
Excellent. And Hector?
Yes, for me, key student services were financial aid. Obviously, since cost was a factor for me in this, I had to make sure that I had everything lined up as far as, my student loans and all of that, so I could pay for my schooling. Of course, counseling was huge, advising. When I first started going to school many, many moons ago, I didn't make very good use of the counseling and advising and kind of winged it per se. And as I got older and went back to get my bachelor's, I realized, like, man, this is there for a reason. Maybe I should use it. So that's what I did. And I started going every semester with an advisor just to sit with them and have them help me pick out what classes I should probably do and in what order and all of that stuff. And also I was trying to finish a little bit faster. So just understanding, sitting down with somebody who understood maybe what my workload could be or maybe should be at a time was also very helpful. And then Seminole State also did a really good job with career fairs. So I attended several of those. Now I'm fortunate that the place that I was working at the time is still the place that I work at today. But had I not had the opportunity that I had, those career fairs probably would have landed me with the job that I would have had after graduation.
Great, thanks a lot for talking about that. One other thing that Deb and I heard when we were doing our interviews was really a lot about kind of this college choice process that people went through. And I'm wondering if you could talk us through that a little bit. Did you consider other options? Were there other options that you thought about? Or was this the only thing that you found that would work for you? Just talk a little bit about when you were thinking about entering the college, how did that go? Maybe Hector, you want to start?
Sure. So actually, when I was deciding if I was going to go to Seminole State, I was also thinking about going to our, local Orlando University. So I actually applied, got in, was about to register for classes when I started looking at the program that I wanted to go into. And at the time, I wanted to go into management information systems. And that university had just dropped the program, and I saw that the program manager had gone to Seminole State. So that was a huge factor. And then everything else that we talked about, the cost and then the size of the classes, I was like, okay, well, the program I want's over there. It's less expensive, and I'm going to be in an environment where I can actually thrive. For me, it was a no-brainer to do that. So it started out as a competition between the university and community college, and quickly the community college was the right choice for me personally.
Erin? Did you have any other options or?
Yeah, so I really didn't have any other options. University would have been way too expensive. I started the community college here in Walla Walla, just for my AA, and had no real plan to even go for a bachelor's. But like I said, just because it was so convenient and such an easy transition, that I stayed on to get a
And
bachelor's.
for those of you who don't know, Walla Walla is kind of in the middle of nowhere, I'll say. It is a rural area. There's really not, wouldn't have been a convenient place, kind of like what Esther said. I'm thinking there really wouldn't have been a convenient place for you to, or a cost-effective place anyway, for you to have obtained a bachelor's degree. Am I right?
Right. Yeah. And I didn't want to relocate, I wanted to stay here. And so community college was basically the option I had.
Right. And what about you, Odetta? We didn't hear much about your process.
For me, I was thinking about going to a university in the local Central Florida area. I looked at the cost and then I was like, that's not affordable for me and my family. So I looked at a different community college because at the time, the community college didn't offer a baccalaureate program at the time. So I looked at a different one and they had it. And I was thinking about starting with them. But then when I see Seminole State was advertising that they're starting their new bachelor program, I quickly switched and I went with Seminole State because I've been a previous student there. So that was why I decided to go with Seminole State.
So you were already had been there and were comfortable with Seminole State.
Correct.
Gotcha.
Yes.
Great. Can you maybe, Hector, we'll start with you, and can you maybe talk a little bit about what your life was like before your degree and now after your degree, and maybe kind of combine with that. Did you achieve what you hoped? Oops, I'm so sorry. Did you achieve what you hoped to achieve?
Sure. Okay. So previous to me joining the bachelor's program, I was actually I was in a band, and we were touring the country in a van that we had, and we went on several tours, and I had already got my AA at that point. Luckily, I finished the first half of my degree and then went touring and tried to live that dream. And, it turned out that just wasn't going to work out, so I went out, I tried it, came back, and I was trying to figure out, like, what am I supposed to do next? All the other guys that I was in the band with, they all had their degrees and I guess did it the right way before they went. So they all started in their jobs and in their fields. And I was like, man, I really don't want to get left behind. I want to make sure that I can get to that next level, whatever that was. And I wasn't sure what that was at the time. I thought I wanted to work in technology, maybe in management in some way, but I wasn't sure how. So when the opportunity came up to apply for the program and get a bachelor's, and I had the flexibility to work around my work schedule, it just seemed like the perfect fit for what I needed to do. So I did that. And actually, after I finished my degree, I just, I was already working for Arthur's Catering. I had started as a server, and, then I started as, a banquet captain. And, the opportunities just opened up for me here because number one, I was with the company and I think I was doing a good job. And number two, I had gotten this degree, so I had a new set of skills and a place that I could apply that. So it's been life-changing for me for sure, because I went from, a server to now running the company that I started with 10 years ago.
Excellent. And I'm sorry, I apologize. I misspoke earlier when I said that Odetta had just bought a house. It was actually Esther who just bought a house, right? Esther, congratulations.
Yes.
Maybe Odetta,
Thank you.
I don't know, you can tell us about it. But Esther, can you just talk maybe a little bit about, I know you have mentioned a little bit more about your previous life, but have you been able to achieve your goals with this degree?
Oh, definitely. Yeah, this degree, like I kind of touched on before, I felt, kind of inadequate to do much else than staying at home, doing nothing. So on top of, the education at Maricosta, I also got an internship in stem cell research between the AA and the bachelor's. So I did a year-long internship, and that helped me to feel more secure in myself and in my knowledge and my potential, which helped. Once I graduated, I got this job at Native Microbials, where it's just fascinating. We research the gut of animals and identify microbes that are beneficial to their systems that help, address an issue. So like our dog product helps with basic gut, dog guts. Like they eat something off the ground, they get sick, make a mess. So it's almost like a little dog probiotics, but it's based off of their system. So anyways, all that to say, it's just exciting this is a bit of a startup, and to join this company from the ground up has given me incredible opportunity for professional growth, but also, financial income. And it's just been incredible. I've been with this company for a little over a year now, and I just we were in low income housing before, and actually being able to be competitive in this housing market was unbelievable. The fact that we got a house was just stunning, and it's so great to see my kids, with their own rooms. I shared a room with my daughter in the apartment, so now she has her own space, and it's every day when they get home from school, they go outside and like swing on the swings, or just like play around in the yard, and it's so great that they have that opportunity. And then I'm sorry, I don't want to take this whole, it's just very exciting.
That's
and
such an amazing story. Congratulations. I think we're all, I'm sure everyone on this call just feels as sort of happy for you as I do. So
and I very much, it is 100% due to all the work that all of you have done in supporting community colleges and getting those bachelor's degrees. Because I don't know where I would be without it. So thank you to all of you.
What a wonderful story. What a testament to the power of the community college bachelor's degree. I'm just so thrilled for you and your family. Oh, okay. Odetta, you go ahead. Take it away before I break down here on the call.
Well, I've been in the healthcare field for quite some time. I start from the bottom up, where CNA, went back to become a respiratory therapist. I was a single mom, and I finally was able to go back to complete my dream to become a nurse. So before I started the bachelor, I was a bedside care nurse. And after quickly accomplishing my bachelor, I was able to advance myself within my organization to become a charge nurse. And I recently got promoted to be assistant nurse manager at the hospital that I work for. So it's definitely have helped me boost my income, helped me, enhance my growth, my professional growth in the field that I work at. So it's really been a tremendous blessing. And I would encourage everyone to continue to advance themselves. Thank you.
What another great story. Thank you so much. And congratulations to you too. Erin, go ahead. Tell us what you've been doing since you got your degree.
So before I started college, like I had a completely different life, and I was not in a good direction. So I guess to say what I was hoping to achieve by pursuing my bachelor's was just a sense of direction towards a career path. Like I before I went to school, I was homeless. I had lost everything, and I had relocated to Walla Walla for a new start, and just almost immediately started going to school. And I had no idea what I wanted to do, and I just wanted to start taking some classes. And so just having that accountability and that responsibility, and just being able to go to school and pass these classes was just a huge thing for me, because I had been so much failure before, and I was starting to see success. So it was great for me and for my kids. And I've learned a lot in school, and I'm taking business classes, and I was able to start turn a hobby into a small business, which is what I do now, so that I can stay at home and work and do school at home and be with my kids at home. So I'm kind of living this in my opinion, my life is like perfect right now. And I know it's not going to be that way forever because I'm going to be done with school eventually and I'll have to figure some different things out. But right now, while I'm in school, my life is amazing. And it's, you know, hugely due to the fact that I can pursue a bachelor's. I know that when I have a bachelor's, the way it's going to look on my resume, and it's going to open up so many doors and give me so many more opportunities. And yeah, I'm really excited to see where this leads me.
Excellent. What another great story. You know, Deb and I, when we were doing our interviews, we did hear from a lot of people about how important their kids were in their decision. And we know from research that students in community college bachelor's degree programs are even more likely than students in workforce programs, at least in Washington, to have dependents. So this has really been a lifeline for especially single mothers and those who need to stay home and have either children that are relying on them, or maybe they're caring for their elderly parents. There's all sorts of different ways in which the schedule, the flexibility, and the cost really benefit and help people who otherwise maybe would not have been able to get a bachelor's degree pursue that option and really change their lives. One other thing we heard about was about the impact of COVID-19 on people who had previously been kind of in an essential worker class, being able to move into roles such as you all have now, where they're really professionals and maybe can even work from home or have a lot more flexibility in scheduling options. So maybe if you could talk a little bit about how the pandemic impacted your lives, and how the bachelor's degree or having a community college baccalaureate was helpful, or what that looked like while you were, you know, how the pandemic affected you, I guess. Hector, do you want to start?
Sure. So as you can imagine, right, catering company. So the pandemic hit, and I remember we were actually sitting in this conference room here, the management team, and we were going, okay, well, how do we think this is going to affect our business, right? And what we figured out was there's a extremely communicable virus out in the environment. People are probably going to cancel parties. So, I mean, within hours, just the phone's ringing off the hook. And normally it rings with new business, and it was ringing with people canceling or postponing because they just didn't know what was going on. So in the next 2 days, we literally went from being an extremely successful, super busy company to not having a single event, and immediately pivoted to starting a delivery service, much like many companies in hospitality did. And what I can tell you is that all of those accounting classes that I took in my managerial accounting class and financial accounting class, nothing was more important than that foundation that I received during my education than when I really had to watch that during the pandemic time, where we just didn't have any business, but we still had all this overhead expense, right? We went from being a $9 million company to a $20,000 a week company surviving off of our delivery service. So we really had to watch our numbers, our payroll, our food costs, and everything that comes along with that. And if I wouldn't have had that foundation that I got through my degree, I would not have been able to do it. And
Right.
To add to that, also the information systems part helped a lot too, because when we were talking about starting the delivery service, we're like, well, we need a way to push this product out there. And in like 24 hours, I was like, okay, well, I think I know how to do this, and turned on a website, and designed it and all that kind of thing, which again, I wouldn't have been able to do if I didn't have the foundation of this bachelor's.
Great. What about you, Esther?
Well, as you can imagine, the pandemic absolutely caused an enormous boom in the biotech industry. I was getting literally emails saying that they're hiring without resumes or interviews. Just like, this is how much we're paying. Can you start tomorrow? But this started a year into the bachelor's program. So the spring of basically I had 2.5 semesters left to graduate. But my goal was to get the bachelor's. I was afraid that, starting work too soon would impact my ability to graduate on time. So I didn't jump on any of those. I did, I finished the program and I got that the job here at Native. But yeah, it kind of opposite of Hector's experience. It just exploded the industry that I was going into. So it was like mixed feelings, very, very much of like, this is a terrible situation, but like, man, I'm so grateful that this is the program that my community college is offering, because it really helped me out in that degree. It wasn't fun when we actually got COVID. That was not fun.
Odetta, this is a question from Deb, which is kind of along similar lines. So can you tell us a little bit about your new job and how the degree has helped you with that job?
Yes. My new job is as an assistant nurse manager. My job is to lead a team, members, like direct report nurses that I manage a unit with patients and making sure that my staff have everything they need, making sure that we're providing exceptional care to our patient, make sure our patient safety is number one priority in the organization that I work for. So it's helped me a lot being a leader to be able to coach my team and working together and setting that momentum for success each and every day when I go into work. Because your team look up to you. You have to lead by example, being a role model. So this definitely helped me, the bachelor program, to set the foundation for me to lead other members in my team, staff members.
Excellent. I want to just encourage anybody, if you have any questions, please do put them in the chat and we'll get them answered for you. Erin, since you're still in a program, maybe this is putting you on the spot a little bit, but what advice would you give to program managers or people looking to start programs just starting out? What do you think are some of the most important things that that you would share?
I mean, really just everything that we've heard so far, right? One of the biggest helps for me was my advisor, who gave me direction. Having support with, financial aid and knowing the forms to fill out and how to get all that squared away. Yeah, I mean, really just everything you've heard, the important key factors that, that everybody had said they considered when starting. And yeah, I mean, I don't really have anything new
Okay.
to share.
No, thank you. Hector, what about you? Any advice? We have a number of people on the call who are either program managers or starting programs or thinking about new programs at their colleges. What advice would you give them as a successful graduate?
What happens after the bachelor's, right? What about a master's program,
Oh, that's interesting.
right?
Oh, I see.
And
Esther.
I'll tell you that when I finished my bachelor's program, I wanted to get my master's. Life took me in a different direction, and hey, that's great. But what about a master's program? If there was a master's program right now available at Seminole State, I might do it. And I'm sure there's a lot of people out there that would.
That's something that we actually heard in our interviews too, that people who had gotten community college baccalaureates were really interested in pursuing further education. And some of them, I interviewed one young lady who was who had enrolled in a master's program, not at the community college, but she was interested in pursuing it. And a couple other ones who were thinking about it as well. So I hope you do pursue a master's degree.
Okay.
What about you, Esther? Any advice you have?
My only advice is please don't stop what you're doing. Like, as a voice from someone who was impacted by by life being difficult, which, I mean, honestly, that happens to everybody, but some people groups, some individuals are just disproportionately impacted and don't have other options. So from us, please don't stop. If you're running into opposition, and I know you are, it's got to be incredibly difficult what you're doing. Please don't give up, because we need the programs that you're fighting to provide.
We need to get that on film.
I hope the recording is working, right?
Dr. Meza, I just want to say that Jim Declo and others, Joyce, have put in the comments that several community colleges are negotiating with institutions that offer master's and PhD programs for community college baccalaureate students. And CCBA has several relationships with university partners that are very welcoming to community college baccalaureate students. So I would encourage everybody here, finish that bachelor's and then go on. All the statistics show that the difference in income, lifetime income between a bachelor's and a master's is huge. So if you're interested in that, let me know and I can help point you in those directions.
Thank you, Angela. You're always so helpful. Okay, here's another one from Deb. I'm just seeing it. So, did your community college help you form and strengthen relationships with other students in the program? That's a really interesting, I think, component of these programs. And how did they do that? And how did that matter to your success? How about Erin? What about you? Are you finding collaborators in your current program? Are people? Oh, you're still muted. There you go.
I do see the encouragement to do that. I personally am more of an introvert, so I don't necessarily participate so much in that, but there are definitely, events and I mean, I know they do different things. Honestly, I'm probably not the person to ask this because, yes, it is there. I don't participate. So I'm sorry.
That's fine. Maybe in the future, but no pressure. What about you, Esther? Was there a real community in your program, and how have you kept up that community, or how did that help you moving into the work world?
Yeah, I'm not sure if this is general across all community college baccalaureates or if it was just my school, but they did a cohort style. So we all took the same classes at the same time, which provided security and knowing, before the program even started, I knew exactly what days and what blocks of time our classes would be in so that we could schedule work outside of this. But it did develop relationships between members of the cohort that, some of those have continued. We keep in touch. When I got the house, I did invite, my cohort to come celebrate. And, it's really great having those connections from fellow classmates who are all in a similar field for the most part. And I could see us continuing to support each other as time goes on. I'd say at least a third of us jumped right into master's programs through, if you look in the comments, somebody did, Jim made a comment that MiraCosta has a relationship with several master's programs. So those programs took in several of my fellow classmates. So it's really exciting to hear from them, how they're doing in their programs. And, part of me feels like, oh, I should have, but to be honest, I am a little bit waiting to see if the community college will offer a master's program, just because of the support that community colleges offer that you've heard, Hector and Aaron Odetta speak to, the finances, the class size, honestly, available parking, big deal. It really, also just the cost at a university, it can be thousands of dollars just to park. And at MiraCosta, at least it's $30. So, yeah.
No, I think we could talk quite a bit about the problems of working at universities. I share your pain. What about you, Odetta? I know nursing programs often do create quite deep relationships. Was that the case in your program?
When I was in my program, it was all online, and we were able to have like discussion groups. And if you have an assignment with projects, you have a few students that you're assigned with that you come together. So we exchange number and we meet and, discuss who do what for the project. And some of them I'm still in contact with up to today. So we help out, feed off each other. We were like, recently, like 2 nights ago, one reached out to me and was like, hey, we need to start our master's program. So I was like, yeah, we do. So I was like, I'm hoping that, Seminole State or other community college, put that as an initiative for the coming years.
This is great to have all these masters people. So congratulations. I hope you and your colleague do pursue a master's too. Hector, I can imagine in your line of work that networking is a really strong part of maybe what the community college provided for you. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, absolutely. I think, that's kind of the draw of going to a community college program is, right, the small class sizes, which the reason that that's a draw is because you have access to people, right? And you have access to the other students, you have access to your teachers. And so the reason that the students are important, especially for somebody like me, and I know this is a weakness of mine, I need somebody that holds me accountable. So being able to make friendships in my classes, right, it gave me accountability partners, people that could help make me successful. So as life goes on and I've, come into whatever my professional life, where that's helped me is not just the networking piece, but also understanding that concept of, hey, I need to develop my accountability partners within my business, and then for me, it's also been very important, learning those communication skills and things that I learned while I was a student and being able to apply them to, managing employees now and managing teams and completely diverse teams, right? Because when you're in a classroom, you're exposed to people from all different walks of life with different stories. And right, we did a lot of group projects and things like that. So having that exposure has helped me a lot in what I do today.
Excellent. One other thing that Deb and I heard a lot about when we did our interviews was the sort of different philosophy that was happening in the classroom a lot of times, where the instructor almost thought of students as like a co-leader and really gave students a lot of space to share their own experiences and their own knowledge and their own beliefs. And I wonder if, and not just sort of treated them in a little bit different relationship than as teacher and student, but as like a group of co-learners together. And I wonder if maybe you could talk about if you experienced that in your program at all, and how that might be a little bit different than previous classroom experiences that you've had. Does that resonate with any of you, or am I making this up based on what I heard? Hector, it sounds like you maybe have something to say.
Yeah, and I wish I remembered this professor's name, but it was our entrepreneurship class. And that was a back and forth. It didn't just feel like it was a lecture, it actually felt like it was a discussion. He would, propose a problem, right? And then would have us try to think critically about that problem, about how we were going to solve it. And rather than tell us, right, he would ask us questions to put us down the path, and that's one class where I can think of a specific example like that, where it kind of felt like a peer group or a peer review.
Yeah, what about you, Erin? I can think maybe in your type of a program that maybe that's the case too, that people have a wide range of experience already that they're bringing in.
All my classes are online due to,
yeah,
in my opinion, a negative effect of COVID, because I personally learn better in a classroom. And that, that would sound very interesting and exciting to me. As far as what we do online, we have these discussions where we can all get involved and discuss different things. Someone will make a comment and then another person gets their opinion on that comment. And that would be about the extent of it.
Oh, I hope you do get to go back in person soon. Maybe are there plans for next quarter to go back?
I don't think so.
Oh no. Okay, maybe in the fall. I hope we all get back to a little bit more normalcy soon. Well, I think we're just about getting ready to wrap up. Oh, one more question. Okay, how is the CCB program able to replicate or make up for the fact that the students were all working and not able to do internships? Well, that's an interesting question. Did anybody have experience during that? Okay, Esther, go ahead.
Yeah, I a little bit addressed it. It's the way that my program addressed that issue was by doing the cohort style. And they told us right out the gate, you're going to be in class from 7 to 12, Mondays through Thursdays. So, it was not difficult to, expecting that that's the case. You can adjust your work hours to be in the afternoons or on the weekends or nights. For me, and again, this is something I addressed, is there's so many jobs available on campus, which for me was absolutely necessary because of, my requirements at home with the kids. I was able to take that opportunity to go to classes and then get a few hours in without taking the time to drive somewhere. So I was able to get in more hours. And then I could work all day Fridays because I knew that Fridays were like that big day that I could get in as much work as possible. And then, like I said, the internship, but for that internship it was a full-time internship. So I decided to take a break from school. The internship took a cohort of 10 students. Most of the other students stayed in their classes. They weren't in cohort style classes, so they just adjusted their class, their schedule around the hours that they were expected to work in the lab. But yeah, it provides a lot of flexibility, I think, at least at my school. So I'm very interested to hear how your other schools, what was available for you.
Did anybody else have an internship kind of experience? Or maybe people could put, if you're a program manager at a school that does have something like an internship that you're struggling with, or that you have new ideas on, or some creative thoughts, if you want to put those in the chat to kind of share with everybody else how you're dealing with that, that would be great. So we could all learn a little bit more about that.
So we did a capstone project, right? Which that's a pretty normal thing. And when everybody did their capstone project, I did it on the business that I worked for, because that was a way that I could blend the two concepts together. Now, I don't know how that worked out for everybody else that was in my group, but for me, it was extremely beneficial. So that's a way, if there's a way to get, the program directors or the program managers to figure out a way to have people involved what they're currently doing with their degree program. Because I assume that a lot of people that are in a certain degree program are probably already working in the field that they want to move up in, or at least some of them anyway.
Well, I know we're just about at time, so I'm gonna go ahead and wrap us up here. So I want to just thank all of our students again, and I'm just so thrilled that you were able to join us today and share your stories with us. Sorry, it was just amazing to hear from you. I don't get a chance to talk to students enough, so I just love to hear from graduates about what their lives are like now, and I'm just so happy for each one of you because it sounds like you're really doing great. And I think just some takeaways for today are, for me, the takeaways are really around that community college baccalaureates provide an option for students who may not otherwise be able to obtain a baccalaureate. And I think that that's really an important contribution that they make to our educational system. I think probably all four of you might agree that you might not have gotten a bachelor's degree were it not for your local community college. So, and just the scheduling, the cost, the flexibility that they offer, as well as the community and sense of camaraderie that they provide students is really just valuable and different to other things that are out there. So those are really the takeaways for me. Angela, I'm going to turn it over to you, and maybe you can provide some of your thoughts, and just thank you again for letting me host this webinar. It's been great.
Well, Elizabeth, thank you for being here, and Hector and Odette and Aaron and Esther. It was another pleasure to be with you all and to hear what you're doing. If there are any doubting Thomases out there about the value of community colleges, I think we'll just send them this video, or we'll give them your phone numbers, students, and I think that that'll do it. So I want to thank you so much for joining us today. I know all of you had to take time out of work and out of your really busy schedules. So thank you very much. Your comments and what you shared with us is really priceless. And Elizabeth, thank you for, your leadership on this project. It was really tremendous. I want to remind everyone we've got another, our 6th webinar coming up with our really good friend Tim Hammond, who's going to have a panel of employers talking about the community college baccalaureate. I hope to see you all there. Also, if you go to our website, you'll see a very, very updated program inventory. You can find every program in the country as of, I don't know, wanted to say as of a few hours ago, but things are changing rapidly, so we'll have to figure that out, and all the latest research. So thank you all. Please reach out if you need anything, and we're delighted to be on this journey with each one of you. Thank you. Bye-bye, everybody.